Welcome to episode 5 of trying every climbing gym in New York City. Today, I'm at Vital in the Upper East Side. The gym is literally just this one room. That's it. You can see the entire thing from the entrance. So, I'm going to try to send every single V4 and V5. And at the end, I'll tell you where I'd put this gym on my tier list. But first, let's go over their training tools. They have hang boards, campus boards, free weights, and one rack with a bench. Now, let's get into the climbing, starting with this teal V0. It's just your average V0 jug ladder. Next up is a purple V1. It's all jugs, but the holds are more angled and some of the moves are bigger. The crux is this little stand-up move. I move on to this black V2. This one is a pretty straightforward crimp line. Next up is this black V3. It's pretty straightforward on slopey pinches with a couple of crimps. Now let's move on to the V4s, starting with this yellow one. All of the holds are crimps. Some of the feet on this climb are tiny, and this feels like a huge step up from V3. I get a high left foot, but it's too small and smeary. And then I just fire off the left hand. This time, I use the little thumb catch on the left, and I can make the next move. The foot is so small and smeary, I panic and just go for the next hold, but can't quite catch it. This time, I foot swap on the small hold and get my left foot onto a much better one. And from there, the next move is easy. And the ending looks a lot more chill than the beginning. So time to give it a burn from the ground. Honestly, I was pretty scared at the difficulty of this V4. I thought that if they were all like this, then I'd have no chance at sending a V5 today. All of the practice paid off and I was able to get the send, but I decided to stick with V4s for now, and next up is this purple one. It starts on a good crimp and you do a big dyno to this jug rail, and then you make a few more moves on good crimps. The start is awkward because the hold is facing the opposite direction you want it to. You can't pull on it, so you have to generate with your legs, but you can't even sag away from the target hold that much. This time, I kick off my back foot and it helps push my hips inwards during the dyno. And I almost control a one-armer off the jug. It definitely feels doable, but then someone came over and pointed out that there were 2 handholds. There's also a foot jib on the macro. So let's see how I do with these newfound holds. The right hold is a lot better than the one above, but I can't reach it while keeping the left foot. So I go up to the slopey little Gaston and use it to shift more weight onto my right foot. From the ground, I thought I could do the next move statically, but I realized I'm gonna have to jump from these bad holds. Luckily, it's not far and I'm able to land it. For the ending, you just have to rock over a left heel, but it actually slips here. That's what happens when you look away from your feet before they're set. So although my original method probably works, this beta was a lot easier. And it's a good reminder to read your routes. I move on to this wooden V4. All of the holds are in cut except for these 2 pinches. My foot pops while trying to fall into this left hand. Most of the footholds are really good and flat, but this first one is slopey, and since it's wood, it doesn't have any friction. This time, I'm able to land the move. The next move is also falling into your left hand. This isn't a move I encounter very often, so it's interesting seeing it twice in a row. The next hold is blind around the volume, so I don't want to go dynamically. Instead, I get a super deep lock off and move slowly and delicately. Overall, this boulder isn't too difficult, so I'm sad I didn't get the flash because of the foot slip. Next up is this pink V4. All of the holds are decent but slopey. You finish by matching on a thumb undercling. I want to stand up on my right foot so I can reach the next hold, but I'm not sure how. I think about mantling off my right hand, but decide to crimp the positive part and get a high left foot. Then I can stand up into the next hold. And the ending was a lot more stable than I thought. I move on to this white V4. All of the holds are slopey dual text crimps. I didn't know if I would need this hold on the right, but I decided to use it for better opposition to get my left foot up and cross over. Next up is this black V4. Most of the holds are these good pockets. This hold is a pretty nasty sloper with a little screw on. The last hold is completely sideways, which turns out to be a lot trickier than you'd think. I think I get my right foot up too early. I end up pretty high on the sloper while trying to swap hands, which is a recipe for disaster. I try it again, but it feels like my right hand is the only thing keeping me on the wall. This time, I cross over with my left hand. And it's good enough that I can take off the right hand and slide my left hand to the jib. I should have used the lower foothold because I was high on the sloper for the match, and now I have to swap feet. This match turns out to be a lot harder than I expected. From the ground, I thought I could just sit on my right foot. I think I got baited by a juicy looking left foot though. From here, I really struggled to find a stable position. Eventually, I just grab the hold as hard as I can and pray, and luckily, I'm able to get it. I move on to this teal V4. All of the holds are vertical pinches except for the last one. I hate pinches and prefer to turn them into side pulls when possible. But I climbed this one with my hips square, so I just squeeze the holds as hard as I can. Next up is this red V4. It starts on a jug and a flat crimp. You go to a sloper, and then the rest of the holds are flat crimps. For some reason, I can't commit to the big bump, but I'm able to do a much smaller bump from a bent arm position. Maybe my body knew I wouldn't be able to hit the hold that dynamically and stay on. In general, this climb is pretty physical, with a lot of logging off to hit the crimps with as little momentum as possible. I move on to this orange V4. It's a mix of positive slopers and pinchable balls.
Huh?
I like this bottom section because I think there's a bunch of different beta you can use. I mantle off my left hand, but realize I can't reach with my feet so low. So instead, I get a high left foot and rock over it. And from here, you just lay back on these side pulls. For the ending, I get this cute outside toe hook. Next up is this blue V4. It starts on crimps, and the rest of the holds are slopey pinches. My foot slips when making the first move. It's funny, because I was like, wow, that foot looks really slopey and slippery. It seems like it'll push me to the right, even though I want to move to the left. And of course I slipped on it. I get the send, but I'm sad I didn't get the flash because of a silly foot slip. I move on to this white V4. It's all jugs in the cave. So, with this send, I was able to finish all of the V4s. I think the ones at the beginning were just particularly hard. So I decided to see if I can send all the V5s as well, starting with this red one. It starts on slopers in a steep dihedral. You get to this bomber pinch, and then the last couple of holds are pretty good and positive. Oh, and did I mention that all of the feet for this climb are dual techs? At the very end, they're generous enough to give us this slopey guy with a bit of texture. Check this out. The transition to the left hand press is awesome. I get to the pinch and try to work my feet up so I can reach the next hold. But waiting the dual techs felt impossible, and the textured foot was too high. And then I realized I missed this pinch, so let's see how that changes things. After I get the pinch, I try to work my feet up, but can't find a stable position. This time, I go for a back step, which lets me get to the next hold and move my right foot up. The ending is a bit uncomfortable. I get a left toe hook, but that doesn't help me get to the next hold. So I flag to generate, and then get the toe hook to stabilize for the finish. Let's see if I can send it from the ground. This time, I keep the toe hook, but a lot more weight is on my left arm as I lock off. Overall, this problem is really cool. I don't see mantles set in the cave very often, and the dual tech footholds made it a lot more technical. I move on to this white V5. It starts on a jug, and then all of the holes are in-cut crimps. I have a bad habit of crossing over when it's unnecessary. I end up in this awkward position, and the uncross move is super desperate, and a lot harder than I thought it would be. I could have just bumped my left hand on that first hold, and the sequence would have been so much cleaner. This last move is surprisingly hard. I turn my right hip in, and I'm able to grab the hold and control the swing, but man, I thought I was coming off, to be honest. I saw a lot of soft climbs in the cave, and this red V7 caught my eye, so I thought I'd give it a try. All of the holds are positive slopers. This next move is a lot harder than it looks, and I'm surprised I'm able to stick the move and keep my feet. The next move is also pretty big, with feet that are hard to keep. This time, I use a higher foot. I'm able to stick the move, but it's super tensiony. The rest of the climb is surprisingly easy, so let's see if I can get this one from the bottom. But then, I struggle to keep my feet on this move. This time, I absorb some of the swing by dragging my right toe along the bottom of the start hold, and it's enough to let me stay on while cutting feet. I go for this move with hips square, and unfortunately, I end up falling. The move isn't even that hard. I just had to turn my hips in instead. Unfortunately, I'm not able to get this move again. I go to the hold with my right hand, but then I'm not sure what to do with my feet to free my left hand. I decide to move on and save energy for the rest of my session, but at least I was able to do every single move. Next up is this purple V5. It starts on a flat rail and you go out to a flat crimp. There's a sloper and a mini jug before finishing on a couple more crimp rails and a victory jug. At first, I didn't realize it was a dyno, but then I couldn't move off the crimps, and I started to wonder why they would put a jug on a V5. This time, I tried turning my right hip in and jumping to the jug, but I can't hold on. This time, I jump with hip square, which lets me hit the jug better, but I realized too late that I need to stick my left hand out to stop my swing. I missed the jump again, but then this happens. And my left hand fires off the crimp. This time, I tried going with my left hand just for fun, but it's definitely not the beta. And finally, I landed. Then, the ending is super chill. But unfortunately, I did that from like one move in. So let's see if I can repeat it. And luckily, I'm able to get it twice in a row. Overall, a fun climb, even though it's a bit of a one move wonder. I move on to this black V5. It starts on a slopey crimp, and then a tiny hold that's mostly dual techs. You go straight up on holds that are equally terrible until you reach some decent pinches for the finish. I think about using the left foot hold so my right foot has some place to go, but I can't pull on. I use a lower foot hold to make a big move, but slip off the dual techs. I try to go statically to be more precise, but the right hand is too bad to lock off. This time, I'm able to get it. Then, I have to do a delicate step through with my right foot. I try to rock over my right foot, but it's too high and my hips can't go any further. So I drop my foot and I can shift further to the right, which lets me grab the pinch. This one was fun and technical on some nasty holds. Next up is this purple V5. It starts on 2 flat crimps and you go out to a sloper. The rest of the climb is just a ladder of small and in-cut crimps. The sloper isn't great, but I'm able to find this delicate back flag for the match. The second crimp is absolutely awful. I back flag to try and free up my left hand, but it doesn't feel great. I get my left foot back on and try to bump my left hand, but it doesn't work. This time, I mantle on my left hand. But the next crimp is also pretty bad and I slip off. I trust the back flag and bump my left hand. I go up with the right hand, but then get a little stuck. I can't figure out how to get my feet up to go for the next hold. I try to bump my left hand again and fall. But this one is starting to feel a bit impossible, so I move on to this teal V5. It starts on 2 flat holds. There's this super blocked slopey crimp, and then a crack. last two holds are block crimps. I'm able to get to the crack and use it as a side pull, but then I get stuck. I try to swap feet and cross over, but the block crimp is too bad to keep me on. I try to swap feet, but the foothold isn't great and the position feels bad. I try going for the left hold, but both the Gaston and the crossover feel bad. I try to get my right foot on the star holds, but they're way too high. Maybe there's some sort of hand jam magic, but I can't figure it out. So I move on to this yellow V5. It starts on a positive sloper, and then the rest of the holds are a mix of pinches, slopers, and flat crimps. I turn myself into a pretzel with this heel hook. I'm not able to rotate my foot outwards because my leg is blocked by my arm. I place the heel outside of my arm and it's a lot better. I grab the crimp as a Gaston, but it feels worse than I expected. I drop back down to the sloper and move my foot closer so I can shift more weight onto it. Then, I cross over the crimp with my left hand. But this is kind of bad because I have to swap hands. But at least most of the weight is on my feet. The rest of the climb isn't too bad, but the positions are delicate, so I have to take my time figuring them out. I'm absolutely pumped by the end, and the last move is super desperate. But luckily, it's a jug, and I'm able to get the flash. Next up is this white V5. The holds are a mixture of big and small, slopey pockets. I grab this first hold with my thumb. I get my foot up and try to swap to a Gaston, but it's kind of tricky. Here, I try to swap hands, but the pocket makes it really hard. The next hold seems so far away. I get a high right foot and dynamically step up into it. This next move is a little confusing, and my left foot slips before I can figure it out. This time, I roll my hand over to swap from my thumb to a Gaston. I'm also able to do a Houdini match on the pocket this time. Unfortunately, my right foot slips when going for the step-up move. I decide to work on the ending. I get a high foot above my left hand and step up into the next hold. The next move is hard though. I want to step up into the undercling and swap hands, but it feels impossible to weight the next foot. I can't figure that one out, so I move on to the last climb of the day, this orange V5. All of the holds are slopey crimps. This right hand move is pretty big, and it's hard to keep tension. This time, I'm able to catch the hold perfectly and control the swing. The next move is also big. I try a very slow and controlled dead point, but my hips come out a bit too much. This time, I try from a more locked off position, but that doesn't work either. I go for a more dynamic move, but I just slip off the hold. Unfortunately, the gym is about to close, so I don't get to try and finish that one off. But after my session, what do I think of Vital Upper East Side? Their training tools are just okay, with some free weights, hangboards, and campus boards. I think with a gym this small, a spray wall or training board would be really useful. The route setting is solid, and I'd say it leans towards the more traditional climbing style. I didn't see any super technical competition style climbs, but they managed to fit in a few dynamic boulders despite the lack of space. The size of the gym definitely limits the variety of terrain and number of climbs though. So for that, I'm going to place this gym in C tier. What do you think of Vital Upper East Side? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you're interested in more New York City climbing gym reviews, check out this playlist right over here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!